give you more insight as to why effective communication is important for lawyers. Okay, so whether you are settling a claim in an arbitration matter, or whether you're concluding a high stake merger, right? Or you are agreeing on a representation strategy with a colleague, or devising a liability clause in a contract. Okay, for all of these, if you're working in any of these transactions, you require to have good negotiation skills, right? Negotiation skills will make all the difference when it comes to standing out as an exceptional lawyer, right? But more than that, it is just not the quality of results that is widely impacted by your negotiation strategy and skills. All of that is based on how effectively you are able to communicate. If you're able to communicate effectively, right, you'll be able to succeed at all these different transactions that I just mentioned, right? Another component is client satisfaction. So your client doesn't want to know how well you know a particular law. Your client is not interested in that. Your client is more interested in that if you're able to counsel them, if you're able to hear them, right? So your client satisfaction is largely dependent upon how effective your communication is, and how much focus are you actually placing on the client's need, which is also known as a client-centric negotiation approach, right? So to give you more understanding about this, I would like to share a quick example. So like I mentioned, I work on gender related matters. So while I was working on one of these matters for Posh, my client raised a complaint. Okay, now here, when a client is raising a complaint, they don't want to hear from me how well I'm equipped with the Posh law, and whether I can actually provide her with a remedy or not, or whether the matter will finally be adjudicated in her favor or not. This is not what the client is looking at an immediate step. At first and foremost instance, they want who can somebody just hear them out without a judgment, hear them out on without saying that, whether this will be acceptable before the court or not acceptable before the court. For all of this, it becomes important that you're able to console your client. If you're not able to do that, the client will not put their money on you, right? Before I'm putting my money on a lawyer, I should feel confident. I should feel that I should trust that person, right? So client communication and the way that you're building your relationship with your client is very important. Then only you'll be able to succeed as a lawyer. Otherwise, no matter how good you are with your legal knowledge, you will not be getting clients still, right? So hence, communication skills are very important here. All right. Now, effective communication saves you and your clients time and money. Now, how does that happen? Now, if you're an effective communicator, you lower the risk of misunderstanding both within your practice and with your client. How does that happen? For instance, when giving instructions, if you're not abundantly clear as to what you want your junior to do, there are chances that your junior will not be able to follow what you're saying, right? And hence commit mistakes. Or similarly, even with your client, if you're not setting out the expectation correct right from the very beginning, your client might have different expectations from you or from the entire proceedings of the case, right? So misunderstandings can be costly, sometimes very expensive to solve. So therefore, again, you need effective communication so that expectations are set out clearly between the stakeholders, right? And you are able to take an action with what respect to what is needed for that particular case, right? You can also not underestimate how important trust is in a lawyer-client relationship. So a client will not refer you, a client will not come back to you if they are not trusting you, okay? And this trust is not built on the basis of your legal knowledge. Is not built, they're not impressed by you telling them that, okay, you understand these many legal issues, right? They will trust you only if you're able to hear out their problem and if you're able to offer them a solution. They've come now. You need to understand this from a point that when a client is reaching out to a lawyer, it is probably because they are in a problem, right? Otherwise nobody goes to a lawyer, right? Similarly, when we are going to a doctor, we go to a doctor when we are in a very uncomfortable position, right? There is something, there is any physical ailment or a disease that is bothering us, right? And to get that treated, we are approaching the doctor. So obviously we are not in a very happy state of mind. Similarly, that is the same case when we are approaching a lawyer as well. When we are approaching a lawyer, there is a problem, and this problem is not something that we are able to solve on our own. We need expert advice on that. Those are the times when we are approaching a lawyer, right? In that situation, if a lawyer, instead of listening to me, just tells me that, you know what, this is a law, and as per this law, your case, you will definitely lose your case, and there are no chances we are winning this matter, but still I will try. Do you think that kind of counsel will enable that person to put their money on you? They will not do that, right? So you need to, as a lawyer, of course, your legal knowledge and your ability to understand and dissect complex legal issues is definitely one of the most important things. But beyond that, what you also need is good interpersonal communication skills, right? Wherein you're able to understand other person. You need to have to develop good listening skills so that you're able to listen to your client properly. You're able to console them. You also need to know how to deliver bad news to your client. Every time, see, every time it's not going to be a good news that you will be telling your client. Sometimes their matter might get delayed for variety of reasons. Sometimes, you know, if you're working on a transaction, it might not get closed at a predetermined price, right? So there are various outcomes that can happen from a transaction. How do you deliver that to your client? How do you deliver that bad news to your client is again very important, right? If you just tell them very plainly, this happened today, and you know what, we really can't do anything about this. We'll have to again reappear on this matter in next month. This is not what they are expecting to hear from their lawyer. They'll be disheartened if we deliver them bad news like this, and next time they might not feel confident coming back to us, right? Therefore, developing client relationships, it is utmost important if you want to grow your practice, or even if you're working at a law firm, right? If you want to directly work with clients and get more big ticket clients to your firm, you need to ensure that you have all of those skills so that the client feels comfortable with you. Even when you're delivering a bad news, you're able to comfort them, you're able to pacify them, you're able to relate to their problems. Understanding of all of this is important, and this happens when you're good at your communication skills. Okay, so if you see, as a lawyer, there are a bunch of activities that you're doing, and in all those activity, a common threshold is effective communication, right? Be it when you're appearing before the court, be it when you're working with your client, or even, you know, when you're working as an in-house counsel, right? And all you have to do is you have to manage work with a lot of departments. Again, there will be major roadblocks if your communication is not clear. Okay, sometimes it also happens because people have certain assumptions in their head, right? They have certain assumptions and they feel that uh, if they communicate a certain thing, that might hurt another party, or they, you know, the other party might not perceive it that generously. So what they do is they avoid having a clear conversation. But do you think that is in the interest of the business? Definitely not. Okay, so you need to be clear, you need to have a clear communication, and for having that clear communication, it is crucial that you're also saying what you want to say, but at the same time you are also understanding the other person's situation, and then you're putting your words very carefully out, right? For all of this, you need to build your communication skills.